Hello, welcome back. Checkered Shorts, episode number 52. And want to shout out to Jerry. The sponsorship check from Kelly Landscaping in the mail this week finally showed up. So we're back to our Kelly's Landscaping hats.
Very good,
Um,
man.
yeah, so this
A,
week,
a
episode.
thoroughbred follower. A thoroughbred follower. He is.
Yeah, man, when someone like that puts a comment out there, you got to pay attention. So
Right.
this is going to be our predictions episode. A lot of fun. It's always fun going into the season with that type of excitement, all the unknown. Anybody can be right. So we're going to have some interesting predictions for you today. Before we get started with that, episode 52, we got to do our history lesson. Some people really look forward to it. So Professor Dinwiddie, let us know about what 52 means in the history of IndyCar.
Yeah. So we'll go with the 1952 Indianapolis 500. A lot of people remember it, and we've talked about this before. Bill Vukovich, before he won in 53 and 54, he was actually leading and dominated the race in 52 with less than 10 laps to go. Had a steering part break and ended up losing the race. But the key to that race, the thing to remember, is that 1952, a 22-year-old named Troy Ruttman won the race. So youngest driver to ever win the 500 at 22 years old. Made me think about what I was doing at 22, and I sure as heck wasn't ready to win the Indianapolis 500. Yeah. So it was also the only time a Ferrari was ever entered into the 500. So, but Troy Ruttman, 1952 Indianapolis 500 winner.
Well, that's an interesting history lesson. Some of these younger guys in the field this year, maybe give them a little hope going into the Indianapolis 500.
Definitely some young ones, that's for sure.
We got some young. We got some young dudes out there on this this roster lineup.
Probably better than Troy was at that age. More developed. Troy's probably a mechanic for some body shop or something, in Illinois or whatever. Just like to race cars, so that's how he got to drive.
Hey, you got to be the guy with the guts to be able to get in that seat and hit those corners and the machines in 1952.
Yeah, right.
Dude, the thing that gets me every time we go to the museum is just the tires on those things. It's like, whew. I know they weren't hitting 200 miles per hour, but even the speeds they were running with those look like big bicycle tires running around the track. I can't imagine. And then obviously the danger was that much more immense. Just freewheeling out the top of those open wheel cars is ridiculous.
Yeah, engineering's come a long way for sure.
Yeah. All right. So again, like we referenced earlier, it's going to be our prediction episode. So you guys put on your best. Get out your magic balls, put on your Nostradamus hat, see if we can come up and hit on some of these. We'll reflect back on these as the season goes along to see how we're doing with our predictions. We're going to break it down. Some fun ones. We started the Shit Pit of the Week award when we started this thing. And at the end of the season, the one who wins it the most becomes the champion for the season. And so we're going to predict the Shit Pit champion of the season.
Rumor has it that is why Colton went to F1. He was so discouraged that he wanted to leave IndyCar because he won the award numerous times. So that's what I heard. I don't know. Ask yourself if you get a hold of him, but that's what I've heard.
It was the relentless week after week.
It's pretty obvious.
Yeah. So in that realm, I was thinking, do you go with the team or the driver? Because does the team change with Will Power coming over to Andretti? But I'm not going to go with Will Power for my prediction. And I'm going to tell you why. He is such a demanding presence. I do not see people lasting very long on that crew if they can't change a tire.
Right.
I just don't see it happening. And Will's going to expect the most of those people. He expects the most of himself week in and week out. So I do not think them. I'm actually going to go with Kiffin Simpson on this one. And he had some troubles in the past with that team. Sometimes Colton Herta just overshadowed some of the other teams on the track. So I'm going to go with Kiffin Simpson on this one. And I hate it for him. He got some traction and momentum last year with some decent finishes, but I think he's going to have some unlucky Sundays or race days this season.
Yep. I'm going to go with It's not Colton or his team, but I'm going with Ericsson. I think it's still going to kind of stick around with the Andretti family. You know, a lot of times we don't see it, or it's not publicized that somebody did have a slow pit stop on TV or in the stands. So it's a lot of times they'll still have some errors. We just won't know it. But Colton's last season it always seemed to catch the producer. So that, I think a lot of it is that, but I still think it sticks around in that family with Ericsson. And Ericsson is on the bubble probably this year, so a little bit more nerves and just a few more mental mistakes, I think, coming out of that team, is my opinion.
All right. Those are good choices. My first inclination was to go with the Ray Hall team, but I know they brought in some guys this year that are kind of pit stop connoisseurs. And so I kind of changed my direction, and I'm a firm believer in karma. And ever since, the Bus Bros broke up, Joseph just doesn't seem to be able to get a break to go his way. So
I like this.
I'm going to throw one out and go with Joseph Newgarden. Especially with the changes in the Penske team, I don't feel confident in what they've done, the reshuffling. And I know they've been strong as a pit crew in the past, but we don't know about this Penske crew. So I'm going to throw Mr. Newgarden in there for Shit Pit of the Year.
So that's great. I mean, I think to another point with that, I think Scotty Mack is now probably number one on that team. I mean, they'll never say that, but I mean, with Cindric coming in and just the transition, and is Newgarden going to be around after next year with contracts? So, and after last season, not even him just winning one race, but just his attitude. You know what I mean? You could still be a fan favorite, but that attitude just has to not win races. You got to get rid of that whole aspect of things. So, especially in the small market IndyCar stuff.
I think I only saw him smile once last year, and that was when he was jogging around the track and got attention from the camera person, getting some exercise.
Forgot about that.
After he had a mishap on track, I think.
That's right. That's right. It's a great call.
Yeah. I nearly went with Nolan Siegel, but I didn't want to go against my Arrow McLaren team. But that would kind of theme together, because what we all just mentioned were three guys that are under some pretty intense pressure. Sometimes when you're under pressure, mistakes can happen because you press a little hard, you push a little harder, and potentially you have some mishaps. So,
it's a great call.
Yeah, so we got some more straightforward predictions for you too. One of the easiest, you're going to hear everybody talk about it, but who do you predict to be the 2026 IndyCar champion? It'd probably be kind of crazy to put your money anywhere but Palou. So it's going to be interesting to see what you guys think. Where are you guys at? Pat, where are you at with the champion? Prediction on champion?
I'm going a little off cuff. I'm going to go Scotty Mack, man. I think I said this last year, but I just think he's more driven, especially after Reckon not even running in the 500. With Cindric really helping him come along, I think will help. And just I think he's ready. He's figured this. He's figured it out a little bit more this year. This is his fifth year, I believe, something like that. So he has the know-how. He has these tracks under his belt. His team's kind of coming together. He is kind of number one, what we mentioned, and just coming together and giving Palou a run for his money. I hope.
I'll second that. I was hoping for three different picks, but
hey, it's all right. We don't talk about this. This is good
for all the things that Pat said. But I'll add a couple more in there. The tracks that are new on the schedule this year. You talked about how he's familiar with the tracks that aren't. The new tracks, we've got two street courses, which we know Scotty Mack is really good on street courses. Mm-hmm. And then Phoenix, and I know we'll talk about that a little bit in the next episode. But Phoenix and Indianapolis have a lot of common characteristics. And so, Scotty's always been really good at Indy. Yeah, I know he hasn't won yet, but he's solid in that, and it's another short oval. So I think that sets up good for McLaughlin. You said it, Keith, it's hard to go against Palou, but I don't like to pick the favorite, so this is year 2 in a row for me. I'm gonna pick McLaughlin,
and I'm rooting for the guy. We've said it a million times on this pod. He's a guy's guy, man. He's a guy you want to have beers with throughout the course of the year, sort of thing. So yeah.
Yeah, and this prediction might be a little more fanboy than like going off of data or past precedent, because who really wants to come on here and say Pelot again? So Scotty Mack would definitely be someone I would be thrilled to see as our champion. I think he could go out and do some positive things for the sport. Like you said, he's a magnetic personality. And for me, again, going with the homer theme, I'm going to go with Pato. I mean, he has been scratching at the door. He has made the steps in the right direction when it comes to consistency. But it seems like he's always playing from behind and then trying to chip away at it as the season goes on. So they got to be thinking a little more front-ended this year. You can't dig yourself out of a hole with a guy like Pelot, because he's not going to lend himself to mistakes. So if we see any type of aggressive driving out of any of these teams, I think we're going to see it earlier on than we have in the past, because all they've done for the past 3 years is, see him out front staring at them through the rearview mirror. And at that point, all you can hope for are mistakes. They don't make mistakes. So you're going to have to see something happen in the first quarter of this year that puts him more parity. So some guys got to come out on fire.
I agree. He needs to stay consistent, finish races, and he needs to qualify better to give him these chances. That's why Pelot wins a lot of these. He's getting the pole. If I think we mentioned this, if you're qualifying 10th, there's still a chance you're going to win. But if you're leading, just how these IndyCar races go, especially road courses, it sets you up really, really, really well to win those races, as long as you're methodical and fluent. Pato, I think biggest thing, he has to qualify.
Well, and the Pelot team is so good at strategy. And strategy when you're out front is easy. Yeah, I mean, you can make the strategy right when you're out front.
You're calling the strategy. You are the strategy.
You're dictating the strategy. Yeah, for sure.
Correct. Yep.
All right, so not to belabor that one too much, because it's all up in the air, and obviously the favorite, if you were to call Vegas, is Alex Pelot. But we got 2 Scotty Macks and a Pato. Rookie of the year. This could be fun. We got some guys on track. A couple of new guys will be vying for that title. Brian, let's start with you this time. Who are you thinking of for Rookie of the Year?
Sure. I don't know where you guys are going with this, but I'm going to throw one out on a limb here, and I'm going Kyle Collette. I think he's picking up that car that's been Malucas's last year. I think that Foyt has been on the up and up. They've got Penske, got that connection. This guy has been a really good driver. That the champion of the NXT series hasn't always been a lock to be the Rookie of the Year. I know Louis won it last year, but it came down to the last lap of the last race with Schwartzman.
Yep.
And so I think Collette is the guy who's driven. I think he's the guy that's kind of under the radar. I feel like he's on a better team than Hauger is. And then I just don't know about Mick. So I'm going to go Kyle Collette for a rookie.
I have a question. Is Stingray Robb still a rookie? Can I choose him? I think Kyle's probably the right call, just because of equipment. A lot of it, I think whoever, maybe not Mick, but I bet you if you put Dennis in that, I think it's just better equipment compared to Dale Coyne. A little bit better of a team, engineers. They got the Penske backing, and the Malukas car. I think that definitely helps. I think Hauger might give him a run for money. I just don't think it's. History shows Dale Coyne's rookies sometimes falter, just like Abel did last year.
So here's where your all's depth of expertise and history may pay off, because for my prediction, I went by the driver and skills alone in front. I watched in the races last year, and so I was put my money on Hauger for this prediction.
Sure.
But it does make a lot of sense, because it seemed like Lucas had good equipment week in and week out. It seemed like that team was prepared and knew what they were doing from a strategy standpoint. So I really wasn't looking at it from where they landed and what was surrounding them. I was thinking of the person inside the helmet, but could be interesting. Like you said, 3 of those guys, no one picked Mick, but he could be a dark horse. It'd be a fun storyline as the lineage that he has, and coming over from the F1 series. That'd be a fun storyline.
If he can get a couple top 10s, top 15s, even Mick, obviously he knows how to race cars. This is different. The ovals will be totally new, but he just has to get in there and sit in there and not do anything too stupid. Just run your laps at the ovals and just get comfortable what you're comfortable at and finish the races, and that'll be an awesome year for him.
Yeah, I think the first part of the year is going to be big for Schumacher in this race. If he can get through this, the first 5-6 races pretty solidly, once he gets more comfortable with the car, he can make a run late in the season. But I think somebody like Collette or Hauger, who's had an entire season, or Colette's had 2 seasons basically running the same tracks that series runs.
Yep.
Yeah, next up on our list, I put down the Indianapolis 500 winner. To me, as far as legacy goes, the Cup Championship, big deal. Obviously, that's where the money's at. But when it comes down to being etched in immortality, crossing the finish line and kissing the bricks and drinking the milk, who do you think's going to be that guy on Memorial Day weekend?
I'll steal your thunder, Keith.
All right.
I think this is Pato's year. I think he's put himself – he's going to be there. I mean, it'd be a shock if he's not there when it comes down to it. He's figured out now how to, do that. He's done it for several years. He's not going to take off at the beginning of the race. He's going to sit back. He's going to sit himself in that top 5 and wait, for there to be 50 to go, and then he's going to be in that battle. And so I think this is the year that Pato gets it. I think he deserves one. Joseph made one of the best passes of all time, right up there with Mears into turn 1 on Andretti in 91 a couple of years ago. But I think Pato gets it done.
That'd make me happy. We're gonna go instead of me going last. I'm gonna go second this time. We're gonna displace the order a little bit. I kind of went off the list, so to speak. I don't think anyone would probably be talking about this guy, and I don't know where the money line is at this point in the season. But I like Armstrong. And I like Armstrong for the reason we talked about him all last season, which is he is just consistent. And sometimes in a race of this magnitude, a race of this length, it comes down to who can go out there and make the fewest effort or errors, not the one who can go out and make the biggest moves. And so maybe he's just there at the right time, running a good race. You never know what could happen at the front. I mean, it's happened in the past where 10 laps to go, some guys wreck out in the front end. I'd hate to see that happen, especially if my boy Pato's up there in the front. But I could just see Marcus being opportunistic. He's always seems to be right there. And with a race of so much length, that consistency can win you a title.
Okay, I'm going with one of the Andrettis. I'm going with Kirkwood. Just with his Bomarito win last year. And then he runs pretty consistent. 23 when he got hit by Felix and the tire flew out in the stands. I mean, he was running a hell of a race with 17, I think, to go. So he knows how to wheel it around there. Just gaining, kind of like Scotty Mack, gaining more and more experience. I think and that Andretti still knows how to get around that track too. Let's not forget, even the past couple of years, maybe they've kind of faltered a little bit, but I'm going with Kyle in hopes to see if he can pull it off. But I think he's ready to.
And he probably got a little goodwill and good luck from meeting world famous Sammy at the airport.
I tapped him on the butt. I said, "Good luck,"
Yeah. No. Okay. One thing I would say to that, I think I like both of the picks that you guys have. I think they're both solid contenders. I think they will contend this year. But I'm trying to think of the last year that somebody won it that hadn't been in that last stretch battle. And I don't feel like either one of those have, Pelot learned how to win from his battle with Alio. Taku with Alio.
Even last year, you couldn't finish the way you wanted to because you had those two cars that just kept everybody from being so slow. So Pelot is third in line, even though he was leading the race. He had two cars in front of him that were lap traffic. So you couldn't see that shootout like you did with Newgarden and Pato. So that's a really good point. It depends on how it all sets up. But, yeah, that could have been a lot different race for Pelot last year. For sure.
And we need an exciting finish because we want to build on the momentum we have. But we also know in a race like the 500, it can end in a variety of ways. And sometimes you end up with winners, not necessarily with asterisks next to their name. They won the race. But, sometimes the race ends under caution. Sometimes there's a big mess that ends up with a surprise guy at the end. So, yeah, I guess at this point in the season, I'm betting the long shot. But, somebody who has a realistic opportunity of being in the mix.
It's the hardest race to predict. I'm a big fan. Everybody, all my buddies and family knows I'm a big IndyCar fan. And, who are you picking for the 500? I'm like, I don't know. Like, you got to give them 3 or 4 names. You can't just be like, nope, he's going to win. It's not like a Newgarden at Iowa. You know what I mean? Like, I would go with Newgarden at Iowa. It could be a dark horse. It could be a Christian Rasmussen. I mean, it really could.
Mm-hmm. All right. So this one to me is the most fun. We're going to go out on the limb. We're going to make some bold predictions. I think each of us may have a couple. And so we're just going to bounce around just a little bit. I'll go first because I kind of showed my hand on a previous episode. But my most bold prediction is Graham Rahal is going to win a race this year. Not just win a race. I want to predict the race. He's going to win the Freedom 250. So a guy who's got his name steeped in IndyCar tradition through his dad and himself. I mean, he's made a good career of being in IndyCar. But this could be one of those defining moments for him. Could be a defining moment for Rahal Letterman to go out there and win a big race, a race that's going to get a lot of eyes, a race that, we'll be happy no matter who wins it. But it would be fun to have a Midwesterner, American, come out on top of that race. So that's my boldest prediction of 2026.
Love it. Love it.
Nice. I'll go the other way. A guy who won't win a race this year. After 21 straight years of winning a race, Scott Dixon does not win a race in 2026. It has to stop at some point. I think the talent level in IndyCar has continued to grow. And I think that this is the end of the line for Scott.
He barely earned one last year, it seems.
Well, and to your point, some of the changes in the races with the length, number of laps, also kind of took away the strategy where he's made some hay, which is on tire and fuel conservation. Yes. Those things are still very, very important, but they seem to be deciding races less and less.
I agree with that. Mine is really, I'm going to say Joseph Newgarden does not win a race this year. Just with the mix up of everything, I think the bad luck continues. I think his poutiness continues, and it just gets in his head, and he's not the king anymore on Team Penske. And just, it took him down to the wire last year to win a race. He did, but I don't see any positive changes for his team personally to change my mind. So that's let's see. That's my big one.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a possibility, but that is very bold. Obviously, he's proven to be a good enough driver, but there are small things that can impact these races. And there were times last year just like the Bomberito, where he was running a good race, and the next thing you know, I'm going down to take a leak, and boom, wreck right in the wall. So yeah, it's not doesn't all fall on the drivers or even the teams or some type of missed setup. Sometimes it's just purely is bad luck, and if you're in the funk, if you're in the gunk, sometimes it's a little hard to get out of it.
It follows you.
Yeah.
That's my biggest one.
All right, we'll go right back around the horn, or you want to snake draft it style, Pat, and you double up.
I got a Felix Rosenquist going to win one this year.
Ooh,
Felix.
It's been a while.
Yep, it has been a while. He's consistent, man. He got a couple bad lucks, like just kind of what Newgarden did at Bomberito, but I like those liveries. Hopefully those continue. He's a good driver. I think Armstrong's going to push him a little bit. Like, oh crap, I see this other guy on my team pushing the envelope a little bit. So he qualifies well. He needs to finish, and I think this year's the year. He has the equipment and the team. It's been there, what now, 3, I think, seasons, maybe 4. So just has to put the stamp to get it done. So that's one of my others. Felix getting a win.
Go ahead, Keith.
All right. My other one is, and this may be bolder than Graham Rahal winning a race, but my bold prediction is after 4 races, Pelot will not be leading the championship points. And for me, that prediction is important to really have an enjoyable season. I feel like what everyone has done, I mean, my Pato himself to set up the guy that I hope has a great standout season, is everyone is just chasing him from the very, very start. He gets out to a lead, and then he's very good at holding on to that lead. They're not, again, a team that makes mistakes. So you got to do something early in the season. And I feel like all these teams are now going to push the envelope a little earlier on instead of doing that after you're behind and you're trying to make up ground. So whether that's because maybe he has a little run of bad luck himself, sometimes momentum is a very positive thing, but it's real easy to trip up when you're going that fast and moving that quickly. So maybe it's not self-inflicted, maybe it's bad luck, or maybe some of these other teams take a step into gaining on him. But after 4 races, it would be really nice if we had a lot of parity and there were some guys really shooting it out.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Awesome.
That's a good one. I'm going to go off the map a little bit here. I predict that this year there will be a fist fight somewhere.
Yes.
In the road or on the track. We have too many guys who are under too much pressure and have some really strong personalities. IndyCar has become the new, and we kind of talked about this the other night between the 3 of us, the new NASCAR. In the days of Kevin Harvick and Clint Boyer and Dale Earnhardt, and we've got that type of personality now. Whether it's Pato, it's Joseph, it's Grosjean. I mean, obviously, there's an instigator in himself.
Santino.
The Santinos. We've got enough of those type of guys in there now, and honestly, like, that brings ratings, and Fox wouldn't be mad if somebody was throwing fists on pit road. So I think with the number of short ovals, with some of the things that we saw last year, we're gonna see the first fist fight we've seen in many years in the IndyCar series.
Well, it is cutthroat. I mean, every kind of what Keith said, everybody has to be better because of Pelot. It's going to be, hey, you cut me off, or during a practice, even it's going to be everybody's pushing that much harder to chase the king right now, and everybody has to be on their games at all times, and tempers are going to flare. I think a lot more. It's a great call.
We started to see a de-evolution of that courtesy last year to some degree, whether it was the streets of Detroit where Power got up under Kirkwood, pushing him around the track. I remember another quals where someone was really frustrated about not being able to get out to get laps in because one of these teams that is at the bottom was getting in everyone's way. So they didn't get to lay down another lap. And generally speaking, those things you didn't hear about on the broadcast or you didn't read about anywhere. You didn't hear them in interviews. The guys weren't taking to the mic and saying these things. And last year it was starting to simmer. So, maybe we're going to meet a boiling point and see one of these guys. This is a great segue into the most recent promo that just came out today, but before we started recording, and that was the Wills. We were excited to hear Will Power was going to get a promo this year, and it did not disappoint. Humor, fun, kind of summed up his personality to some degree, at least what he's known for. Obviously, we don't know him that intimately, but he's fiery, that's for sure. So it's a good promo. What do you guys think?
I think it really highlighted the many faces of Will Power. I do think, early in his career and even through the prime of his career, I wasn't a fan because I didn't see all of who he was. But knowing the loving husband and father that he is, but also the fiery guy on the track and the enigma that he can be and mysterious and not want to talk about things. And we've just seen that over the years. I thought that commercial just really encapsulated who Will is.
Yeah, I think for me, that's a good point. Penske kind of holds the reins down on your personality a little bit, maybe. And I think Will probably got caught up in that. And no disrespect to Penske, it's kind of like what Steinbrenner does at the Yankees. It's the same sort of feel. But you could see that come out there towards the past even few years, I think. Like what Dinwiddie. That's a really good point. And I mean, he's a likable dude, man. He's funny. He plays the drums. He's really good at the drums. So I think seeing that, it's really good for our sport to get him out in a little bit more in open air for guys like us and kids like, whoever to really get to know who he is. But yeah, I think Penske might have held him down just a little bit. But a great commercial. Great commercial.
You pointed out the suburban connection again, the neighborhood piece there.
That's a really good point. I didn't think of that until you said something pre-podcast. But no, that's.
I think they're all going to have that theme embedded somehow. That these guys could be your neighbors, and we all have friends, family, or neighbors that have a variety of these personalities. Can be fun loving, do help you out at the drop of a hat, but also has the ability to ignite like that. Yep. There's some guys that I can think of like that. And so it was a good one. And then I think the way they, fluent in sign language or whatever they said from a rocket ship, and just insinuating without coming out and saying that he's well known for flying the double birds.
The billboard part was one of my favorites when he gives the wink and points the fingers when it wills Will. I thought that was a good part. So yeah, who's the fourth? I know this.
It's Alex.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah. We'll see. I mean, hopefully they bring some thunder with that one. Get him more likable or something. Yeah, we'll see. One more to go. I think this one goes out today during the 500, the Daytona 500.
Oh, nice. Good call on that one, Fox.
So if you're not sleeping during the 500, you might catch this Will Power. Good reason to stay awake at least.
So I got to say, this was a fun episode for me. Hope you guys enjoyed it too. But making predictions when nothing's on the line at this point, it's all a fresh new season and a fresh start. So a ton of optimism. We're hoping for what is the most entertaining racing in years. We've seen some great races, but to see it from the start to the finish and see that parity throughout is what we're hoping for. Is just an outstanding 2026 IndyCar season.
We got 10 people in GridRivals, so we need to get that up to 15 at least, if not 20. 20 would be awesome. So get on our GridRivals fantasy. We'll share the code or the link and all that stuff in our socials. Give us a like, give us a share. We super appreciate it. Trying to grow this thing, keep our hobbies, so our wives don't get totally annoyed with us because they don't like to hear all of our racing banter. So,
all right. So we thank you for joining us on episode 52 of Checkered Shorts. Catch us on this will come out on Tuesday. Catch us on Thursday morning as well when we'll have episode 53. So we're getting them rolled out for the preseason, and before you know it, we're going to be talking about St. Pete.
Next week,
hold on. What the preview is. For sure.
14 days. Hold on, schedule. 14 days, 1 hour and 10 minutes and 31 seconds and counting.
Ooh.
That's coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, we are on the doorstep for sure.
Buckle up.
All right.
See y'all.